Question: how did Master Chief meet Cortana for the first time? Where did he acquire her and when? In Halo 1, the two are already well acquainted and get along well, but why and how did that happen? Well, researching this video has actually changed my entire perception of these two characters. Now knowing how long they were actually friends, how long they even knew each other even existed, it's really quite shocking. But guys, before we get started, if you enjoy the work I put into these videos, go ahead and smash that like button. Smash it so hard it turns blue. It really helps me out a lot as a content creator, and I personally appreciate it a ton. Thank you so much. Let's go ahead and jump into it. This video is supported by Audible. Snag yourself a free Halo audiobook right down in the description below. Before we get to the how and when, let's talk about Cortana's creation. Now, obviously, Cortana is a smart AI. She is a technically living, conscious being, albeit without a human body or brain or even senses. She is probably also the smartest AI ever created in Halo lore, partly because Dr. Halsey illegally used her own brain to create Cortana. The process is called cognitive impression modeling, and essentially Halsey had her own brain cloned, printed, scanned, and copied. 20 brains were created, but only about 2 survived. And it was on November 7th, 2549, that Cortana, the one we know and love, was created. Her first words were, "When the game is over, the king and the pawn go in the same box." It was on February 11th, 2550, just a couple months after her creation, that Cortana had removed the viral termination code implanted in her. How this was done is actually still a mystery. So now let's talk about John and Cortana's relationship. One of the most iconic scenes ever seen in Halo, in my opinion, is Halo 3's intro, where she says this: "They let me pick. Did I ever tell you that? Choose whichever Spartan I wanted. You know me, I did my research, watched as you became the soldier we needed you to be. Like the others, you were strong and swift and brave, a natural leader. But you had something they didn't, something no one saw but me. Can you guess? Luck." As awesome as this scene is, it does lack some context. I assume that Cortana has been studying Spartans beforehand, researched each Spartan, and then came to the conclusion where they actually meet, which we'll be talking about soon, and that is the Spartan that she chose to be with. So Master Chief and Cortana first met on Planet Reach, on a UNSC base known as Painland, a place where a lot of Spartans would do their early training, and I think experiments, but also surgery. On August 29th, 2550, if you know much about Halo Reach's timeline, this was basically the last day or two before the planet was completely wiped out and glassed. Of course, the final fleet that would wreak havoc on Reach would happen just moments after the two meet. So, to put it simply, this was actually the day before Noble 6 successfully delivered the package to the Pillar of Autumn. I know this timeline is a bit weird, there's a lot of holes and continuity errors, but whatever. John on August 29th was actually getting a neural interface upgrade, a big one, outfitted with some awesome armor now equipped with shielding based off basically Jackal shield technology, but it was just a lot better overall, and as we know, it even regenerates. So this is when Master Chief would finally get shields, but also Chief was curious about the second upgrade, and that's when Halsey would present Cortana for the first time ever. This is her first words. All right, so Halsey would say, "Her name is Cortana. She has been programmed with every on-computer insurgency routine and can modify them on the fly. She also has our best Covenant language translation software." Chief simply responded by saying, "Impressive." Cortana's first words would then be, "A pleasure to meet you, Master Chief. Yeah, I'm pretty great." Chief would then turn around and again, for the first time, have Cortana in his head. She said, "Not much room in here, and I hear her." So this is when Chief is essentially tested to his limits. Now equipped with a fast-thinking and clever AI, Cortana, she says, "I'm detecting a high degree of cerebral cortex activity. You're not the muscle-bound automation I was expecting." So I guess she thought he was a little bit less active in the brain, maybe saying that he was probably stupid or stupider than she expected, which I find funny. But Cortana would then upload combat protocols to his armor and detection algorithms and boost his neural interface performance. As the testing proceeded, basically the two would then work together flawlessly through the training. She would help him through mines, give him quick strategic advice, and even give the occasional, "You can't make it and there's not enough time." I guess objectively isn't helpful, but she was trying to help. I also found this trait of dialogue pretty funny where Cortana is yelling in the Dark Horse Comet The Fall of Reach and warning of a missile lock, and Chief says, "You're in my head, you do not have to yell." And she responds, "Because I am inside your head, I'd rather you weren't blown to bits." And thanks to Cortana giving him the exact time later to deflect a missile in which they were both able to walk away from. So how long has Cortana and Chief actually known each other in the Halo games? Now this part really messed me up, and it actually kind of slightly altered my perception how freaking short the two actually knew each other in the Halo games. This is pretty shocking. So they met at the end of Halo Reach. That means they only knew each other for about 1 day and a half, about 2 days or so. And since they met on August 29th, I mean, that's 1 or 2 days. After that, the Pillar of Autumn was lost at space for about 3 weeks, and I believe, although I haven't been able to find anything in my research, that Chief was in cryo for most of that time. So without going into theories, well, maybe Chief was awake for about 2 days or 3 days or whatever, I'm just not going to even count that time that he was in cryo. But keep that in mind, it's about 3 solid weeks between the end of Reach to the beginning of Halo 1, where Chief is iconically woken up from cryo. Let's just assume that he was asleep that whole time, that Cortana and Chief's relationship never developed. That means at the beginning of Halo 1, Cortana and Chief knew each other for about 2 days. Plus, maybe some extra time, but not likely. So throughout Halo 1, the two barely knew each other, and basically by the end of Halo 1, only 4 days had passed, rounding up to just about a week having met for the first time. At least, for Master Chief's perspective. Cortana wasn't in cryo or anything, obviously, but Master Chief and their relationship stopped developing during that cryo time. But anyway, Halo's 2 story on October 20th begins, and since Chief wasn't in cryo during that time and they had some fun adventures together as we see in Halo First Strike the novel, the two had met by the beginning of Halo 2 only 28 days ago. Again, this isn't including potential cryo time. If it was, that would be about 52 days. But anyway, Halo 2 would end on November 3rd, 2 weeks later, meaning that by the end of the game, the two only knew each other for a total of 42 days. Now, we won't count the time separated after Halo 2 because, again, the relationship isn't developing. They're not talking. Of course, Master Chief starts getting flashes of Cortana, but they're not really talking as friends or whatever. So Master Chief would retrieve Cortana in High Charity all the way up on December 11th, 2552. That same day, they would end up being lost in space, and as we saw iconically, that Chief would, instead of exit cryo, he would enter cryo that same day. So let's just go ahead and bring that up to, at the end of Halo 3, they knew each other for a total of 43 days. That is just a month and a half. That is just crazy to me. But let's keep going. More than 4 years would pass. Cortana would kind of waste her life away, but they would not develop a friendship. Chief never left cryo, and he would again be awoken on July 21st, 2557. And just 4 days later, on July 25th, Cortana would be killed off, technically, making the end of their friendship be about 47 days just after meeting. We're not counting time where they were separated or weren't communicating or, in cryo. 47 days, guys. Can you believe it? 47 days. I'm going to keep going on into Halo 5, but after having done all this math and just thinking about how Master Chief and Cortana's deep, witty, funny at times, and intimate relationship technically only lasted 47 days or 48 or 46, somewhere around that, before her death is just insane to me. I mean, I was kind of under the impression for a long time that these two knew each other for a long time, but that isn't the case. If we were to include Halo 5 now, it was October 23rd, 2558 that Cortana contacted Chief, probably through what is the domain, and just 5 days later, after on and off communication through different mediums, if you want to count those days, well, that is just about, I don't know, if you want to count up to 49 days after having met. And at the very most, I would say 63 days ever. To have someone try to lock you up and encrypt him for 10,000 years after knowing you for 60 days is a bit of like the vibe of a clingy ex to me. Now with that framing in mind, it's just insane. But look, they certainly do have chemistry. And I know, like, personally, I've met people and instantly got along with and even had made inside jokes within the first meet and even tried to lock me up in a car trunk a few times, and I'm sure you've had too. So if you want to learn more about these characters, guys, I recommend getting the Audible trial down in the description and getting Halo Fall of Reach or Halo the Flood or even Halo First Strike, as those all kind of shine a light on character development and their friendship developing, whereas the games do not do that as well. But anyway, guys, if you like this video, be sure to drop this video a like. I had a lot of fun making it, and it's kind of changed my perception about Halo. How does it change your perception about Halo, if it has at all? Let me know down in the comments below. Guys, also be sure to subscribe for more fun Halo lore videos like this, but also Halo Infinite news is right around the corner. I just made a everything we know about Halo Infinite. Be sure to check that out as well. Guys, I'll catch you in the next one soon. Peace. Take care.